Hi, welcome to the Larson Health Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about gut health, the microbiome, food as medicine, and how to heal your gut on a budget. So, welcome to the Larson Health Podcast, where we bridge science, nutrition, and functional medicine to help you heal from the inside out. I'm Kim Larson, certified functional nutrition coach and Fast Like a Girl coach, and founder of Larson Health and LarsonNutrition.com. So here we're going to talk about real health transformation, how food, fasting, and lifestyle can change your hormones, your metabolism, your brain, and longevity. So today we're going to spend some real time on one of the biggest themes in wellness right now, gut health, the microbiome, and this idea of food as medicine. You've seen it all over social media. Gut health reset powders, prebiotic sodas, microbiome tests, cleanse protocols, bloat cures. I mean, there's been so many things promising overnight results, right? It's a huge business right now. But the question I want to sit with you today is how much of this gut health boom is actually grounded in science and how much is just smart marketing? We're going to answer that by walking through what your gut microbiome actually is, why it matters for everything from digestion and immunity to mental health and hormones, what the research actually says about food as medicine, what we know about leaky gut and how to repair the gut lining, which foods and supplements can legitimately help, how exercise and the vagus nerve come into the story, and how a modern processed diet drives chronic disease, and then very practically, how you can start turning this around on a realistic budget. So let's start with the big picture and the trends because they explain why everyone is talking about gut health. Fran Health, a rehab and wellness organization tracking clinical trends, named gut health as one of the top health trends for 2025. They pointed out that research now links gut health not just to digestion, but to immune function, mental health, and inflammation. And they expect more personalized probiotics and gut-friendly diets to move into mainstream care, not just the wellness world. The Global Wellness Institute, which does big picture analysis on wellness trends worldwide, has a Nutrition for Health Span initiative. And in 2025, their work talked about this massive shift toward nutrient-dense foods, soil health, regenerative agriculture, and personalized nutrition. Gut health and the gut-brain connection are center stage in that conversation. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but the brain is connected through the vagus nerve down to your stomach and your gut health, right? Your intestines and everything. So whatever you're eating is actually feeding your brain. Your brain is telling your body that this is what's going on. So there's a lot of autoimmune diseases out there that are, lupus or Crohn's disease or you name it. There's tons of arthritis, all kinds of problems, inflammation that are going on. And if you can heal your gut microbiome, you can actually heal like allergies and depression and bone health and your joint health and inflammation and pain in your body. It's amazing what you can do to repair your body. I can tell you that this happened for me. We live we live in a townhome and it's 3 floors, lower level, first floor, second floor. And going up and down the stairs, I had to go one step at a time. I couldn't go running up and down the stairs because my right knee had such bad inflammation in it. Arthritis. Inflammation is called arthritis when it's chronic. So what I realized was my causal for that was sugar and wheat. So wheat in America is one of the high inflammatory products out there. And that was ruining my gut health. And so I realized, and I don't have an allergy to wheat. It's just that I can't eat the standard American white bread or wheat bread. I just can't eat that because of all the chemicals that are in it, the highly processed white bread. I used to love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but then I realized like everything had soybean oil in it, which is really toxic. And I mean, there's just so many different foods out there that are highly processed. And so if you can eat whole foods, that's what we're going to talk about today. That's how you're going to heal your gut. So this study highlighted that, people are no longer satisfied with calories in, calories out, because calories are not created equal. They want food that extends their health span and not just their lifespan, right? Because you can live to your 80, but you're starting to decline at 50 or 60. So you're living 30 years of pain in your knees or problems with your body. You get cancer, you get high blood pressure, you get diabetes, you get all these different chronic diseases that happen because you're not taking care of your health. And so this is I've talked about this I don't know how many times in my podcast, but let me get back to the true science about all this. So this isn't just influencers talking, right? This is wellness researchers, rehab organizations, and global think tanks are all saying the same thing. The gut is a central hub for health. Now, let's talk about what this actually means in your body in a normal person language. When I say microbiome, I'm talking about the trillions of bacteria, fungi, and even viruses that live mostly in your colon. They're not just hitchhikers. They help digest your food, train your immune system, produce vitamins, make neurotransmitters, and they keep your gut lining intact. A nice way to picture this is to imagine a rainforest living inside you. In a healthy rainforest, you have big trees, you have ground cover, you have insects, birds, predators, prey, all in balance. In a healthy gut, you have many different species of microbes, each doing its job to support digestion, immunity, and metabolism. The Institute of Food Technologies put out a microbiome toolkit explaining how different kinds of fiber interact with this rainforest. Some fibers are very fermentable. Your microbes, love them, and they turn them into health-promoting compounds like short-chain fatty acids. Other fibers act more physically, bulking up stool and providing bowel movement. And both matter. The type of fiber, whether it's soluble or insoluble, sticky or gel forming, changes how it behaves in the gut and how it feeds your microbes. So when you hear eat more fiber, it's not just some vague diet tip. It's literally a way of feeding and shaping your microbiome. And recent reviews have shown that when you increase fiber in plant polyphenols, those colorful compounds in berries and herbs, cocoa, olive oil, and tea, your microbes ferment them into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propionate. These help strengthen the gut barrier, calm the immune system, and regulate metabolism. So let me translate that because it could be a little confusing. So short-chain fatty acids are like healing fuel and signaling molecules produced by, your microbes when you feed them well. They help keep your gut lining less leaky because literally your lining of your gut will rip open and not that big, but little microscopic tears will happen. And then food starts escaping into your body and your body starts causing all this inflammation because it's like, these are foreign invaders in our body and it starts attacking and attacks your body. So you want these fibers to help your gut lining to be less leaky. They help reduce inflammation. They help your body handle blood sugar and insulin more smoothly. They're even showing that fiber will help fight cancer if you're doing the right fiber, not highly processed food fiber. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fruits, vegetables, those kinds of fibers, beans, brown rice, and white rice can have arsenic in it. So you got to be really careful about your white rice. But try to get some brown rice or even black rice. Black rice or wild rice is really, really good. And I don't mean the box stuff that you get at the grocery store. I mean, you can get them at a Whole Food store, a health food store of any kind. They usually have a nice wild rice that might be organic, or it's not in a box. So food isn't just calories, right? It's instructions that tell your microbes what to make. Now, we can't talk about gut health without talking about leaky gut, or what scientists call increased intestinal permeability. And this is a term that's gotten widely abused online. Some people act like leaky gut is just a marketing invention. Others blame it for everything in the universe. As usual, the truth is in the middle. In the scientific literature, intestinal permeability is very real. The intestinal lining is only one cell thick, and the cells are held together by proteins called tight junctions. And when the gut lining is healthy, those tight junctions act like a smart filter. Think of them like a security system that decides what's allowed to get from your gut into your bloodstream. Under stress from maybe infections or chronic stress or dysbiosis, those tight junctions can loosen. And that's when larger molecules like bits of undigested food or bacteria fragments can slip into the bloodstream, triggering immune reactions and inflammation. A 2021 review in the journal Gut discussed how certain compounds, including zinc, carnosine, can help stabilize the small bowel lining and reduce permeability in experimental settings. It's in a PubMed article. So more recent summaries in 2024 and 2025 have looked at glutamine. This one's a large one that's being talked about lately, and it's an amino acid, and that is found in glutamine supplementation, can reduce the markers of gut permeability in adults compared to control groups. So let's put that into normal language, right? Leaky gut basically means the wall of your intestines has become a bit too porous and too inflamed. And in controlled trials, certain nutrients, especially glutamine and zinc carnosine, seem to help that gut lining repair and tighten up again. That's not magic. And it doesn't mean everyone needs to run out and buy a supplement stack, but it does tell us gut repair isn't just a made-up phrase. There is real biochemistry behind it. So I can tell you, like there was years ago, I was at a dinner with some friends and at their house before I was going to go to a black tie event. And I, had to put on this fitted black dress. I didn't have to, but that's what I brought to wear. And my stomach was nice and flat before I had the dinner. But then all of a sudden, I just blew up. My stomach got really distended. I was really uncomfortable. So typically when that happens, you already have a leaky gut. And so the leaky gut is happening. So you eat something, it permeates your gut lining. And then all of a sudden you have this pain ache in your belly. So if you've ever had that where you are eating something and then all of a sudden you have a belly ache, there's something going on and you need to listen to your body. Now that we've laid down the basics, let's zoom in on food as medicine. The Global Wellness Institute talks about nutrition for health span in terms of nutrient density, soil health, and regenerative agriculture. So many of you have probably heard about the soil health and how bad it is. So, we were watching a show one time. It was a farmer in England somewhere, and this guy used to be like a writer or a radio guy, and now he's got this farm. And somebody had come in to talk about, doing more agriculture to help build the soil. And so what they did was they had a diverse, growing of product going on. And it just helped build the soil, right? And then you just let it decompose into the ground and it helps build the soil. So they point out that when soil is healthy, the plants grow in that soil are richer in vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. And those compounds are exactly what your microbe uses to generate health promoting metabolites. At the same time, a 2025 review on dietary patterns and the gut microbiome notes that plant-rich diets, especially Mediterranean-style patterns, rich in vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, olive oil, and modest animal protein, consistently foster beneficial butyrate-producing bacteria. Western-style diets, high in saturated fat, refined sugars, and ultra-processed foods, push the microbiome towards dysbiosis. Fewer beneficial species, more inflammatory ones, and more gut barrier disruption. So let's make that simple. When your diet looks more like Mediterranean, lots of plants, beans, olive oil, modest portions of good quality protein like fish and chicken, goat, your microbes have more anti-inflammatory gut healing compounds. And when your diet looks more like drive-through snack aisle, talking about, quick, highly processed foods, your microbes shift toward inflammatory patterns. You cannot separate microbiome health from the overall pattern of your diet. Now, you asked specifically for foods that help heal the gut, and I want to keep this practical and budget conscious. So we have some fun lists of gut-friendly foods that show up across multiple sources. Rolled whole oats. This is not your quick oats with all the sugar and the flavors in it. Rolled whole oats. Put a little grass-fed butter in it. Add a little grass-fed cream or some oat milk, unsweetened oat milk, or unsweetened almond milk. Have some beans, have some lentils. Like we have a pasture raised turkey and we're going to put some black beans in and make a soup with it. We got some celery and some carrots, some onions, some garlic. Also get broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables, green bananas, kiwis, berries, chia seeds, yogurt or kefir. Those all have live cultures and fermented vegetables like kimchi or sauerkraut. I can tell you that my breakfast, it looks a little scary, but this is my breakfast. It has blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, chia seeds, grass-fed whey protein. It has banana protein. It has a fiber powder. It has cinnamon, and really good organic cinnamon. It has yogurt. It has cottage cheese and a little kefir poured in. And so that vegetable, this breakfast, I mean, I had a little bit of it, but I could tell you that literally, I mean, I ate this much of it and it is so filling because of all the chia seeds. What they do is you have the water and it just expands in your stomach. So I'm like, oh, I'm so full. So I'll probably have this for lunch and maybe I'll have it for dinner because it's just so filling. Or I'll have it tomorrow. So anyway, so bananas, kiwis, berries, chia seeds, yogurt, kefir, they all have live cultures and fermented vegetables like kimchi or sauerkraut. So a recent study for the general public grouped these into three big categories: high fiber foods, fermented foods, and polyphenol rich foods. So if you want a really simple starting point, here it is in normal language. Your gut loves fiber from inexpensive staples like oats, beans, lentils, brown rice, and frozen veggies. Fermented foods like plain yogurt, plain Greek yogurt is the best, with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and miso. So if you like some miso soup, have some miso soup. And you can make it at home. You can buy miso and make your own miso soup. Grab a, organic chicken or just grab a chicken and boil a chicken, right? Pull your meat off, boil a chicken, leave a little meat on there, make some broth, pour some miso in there, and you got an awesome soup. Colorful plants like berries, leafy greens, herbs, onions, garlic, olives, and extra virgin olive oil. Those are all food as medicine in the most literal sense because they give your microbes the raw materials to create healing compounds. And notice, none of those require a fancy grocery store. Rolled oats, dried beans that you can soak overnight, frozen broccoli. I get the broccoli florets, store brand plain yogurt. I get organic, but you don't have to get organic. I mean, just start somewhere, right? If you need to be budget friendly, just I get the organic Greek yogurt at Aldi, and it's delicious. These are all budget friendly items. We buy most of that stuff, the green bananas. We don't eat a lot of rolled oats, but we eat a lot of frozen broccoli. I get that at Aldi. They have it organic there, or I buy it at the local farm here. So let's work through the supplement side. Okay, but in a grounded way. What does the research say actually supports gut repair? So first is glutamine. Glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in the body and a preferred fuel for intestinal cells. A recent meta-analysis of clinical trials found that glutamine supplementation can significantly improve markers of gut permeability in adults, including those with conditions like IBS or critical illness. In practice, functional practitioners often use doses in the range of 5 to 10 grams per day, sometimes higher short term, but it's always wise to personalize based on health history and work with a practitioner. Give me a call, reach out to me if you want to. I'm a functional nutritionist, so I understand what these things are. I have a whole questionnaire that talks about your health history and understanding all the toxins that might be in your life. Like, are you microwaving in plastic? If you are, stop. Get glass containers for your Tupperware. They're all over the place now. They're available everywhere. And do not microwave in plastic. Don't even store your food in plastic if you can avoid it. Second, zinc carnosine. It's a controlled human trial showed that zinc carnosine helped maintain intestinal integrity when the gut was stressed by NSAID medication. So NSAIDs are like ibuprofen. I'm trying to think what the other one's called, but NSAIDs are those kinds of medications. Endomethacin. It's reduced the increase in permeability that would otherwise have occurred. So it's really important to get zinc carnosine if you're taking any of these medications for pain. So it reduced the increase in permeability that would otherwise have occurred. And zinc carnosine has also been used in studies on gastric ulcers and mucosal repair. In plain English, this compound seems to act like a scaffold and protectant for your gut lining under stress. Third, probiotics. This is a huge category, and the research is very strain specific. Reviews show that specific probiotic strains can support barrier function, reduce inflammation, and help restore a more balanced microbiome after disruption. But here's what I want you to hear. It's less about the best probiotic brand ever and more about the synergy between probiotics and prebiotic fibers. So if you're getting the kefir with the yogurt and blueberries and chia seeds, right? You're adding in the prebiotic fibers, the probiotics. It's just amazing. And it's amazing how much you can help repair your body with all this. So a probiotic is like planting seeds, and a prebiotic fiber is like watering the garden, right? So you got probiotics to plant the seeds, the prebiotic to water the garden. Taking probiotics while still eating an ultra-processed low-fiber diet is like tossing seeds on concrete. Fourth, omega-3 fatty acids and anti-inflammatory botanicals. So I could tell you that I take Enzino omega-3 fish oil. It is amazing. I'm in the 1 percentile of all Americans on my omega-3 fatty acids. I'm at the top. So, and I've been taking this for several years now, and it has made such a difference. I just take two. It's a shot. It's grapefruit. They've got orange flavor. They got some different flavors, but it has really helped me. I just take 2 ounces in a shot glass. I put a little water in there. I take it down. I put a little more water in the shot glass again because there's always a little bit of oil left, and I finish it. My husband, because he's larger, he takes 4 teaspoons. again, with a little water in the shot glass, and it does it that way. So omega-3, some fatty fish or supplements, because I certainly still eat salmon. I'm not a big sardines and mackerel, the little fish, but those are really great for you, and they don't have as many toxins in them, right? Because they're so small. But they're great, filled with omega-3. So are walnuts and herbs like curcumin from turmeric. But when you get turmeric, you want to make sure you add black pepper as well, because it helps your body absorb the curcumin. These have been shown to help modulate gut microbiota composition and reduce inflammatory signaling in the gut immune system access. Again, they're not magical, but they support the anti-inflammatory environment your microbiome needs to thrive. So now let's move to exercise, because this is a part of the gut health people don't always connect. A 2024 meta-analysis looks specifically at how exercise affects the diversity of the gut microbiota in adults, and found that regular exercise can increase microbial diversity, especially in endurance type activities. This is amazing. I was talking about this before about muscle, right? And how muscle helps our body. It helps make our skin thicker. So when we're getting older and you see people with really thin skin, right? It'll actually help thicken your skin. A 2025 Popular Science summary broke this down nicely. Running or cycling 3 times a week for 30 to 60 minutes led to measurable shifts in gut microbacteria toward more species that produce short-chain fatty acids. Those same healing compounds we talked about earlier. These benefits faded when exercise stopped, meaning your microbiome responds to movement, not just like your muscles do. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? Do not let moss grow on right? Moss doesn't grow on a rolling stone, right? Keep moving, right? One of the gals that I've met recently up here in Michigan, she was talking about how she's going to get 10,000 steps. And she literally was walking as she's brushing her teeth, and she's walking as she's doing dishes, and she's walking around the house every once an hour. She walks around the house for, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that. And when she did that all day long, she got over 10,000 steps. So I think it's amazing how you can, like, I've gotten 10,000 steps just doing stuff around the house, cleaning house, working on the candles that I was working on. I got Christmas rose burning right now, and it smells amazing in here. I don't know if I got some that you can see, but we have these body balms. We had this event yesterday, so I'm a little tired, but it was from 9 a.m. That's why I'm doing the podcast today, Sunday, because yesterday it was from 9 a.m. until we were done packing up around 7:30. I got home sometime around 8 o'clock. So it was a long day. I left the house at 8 o'clock to get there. And it's just, but we have this botanical. I've since rechanged it to Larson Botanicals, but it's a deep moisture balm. And this stuff is so rich. I can tell you that. So I've been using it, but I just take a little fingerful and I put it. And this stuff is, especially for winter, this stuff is amazing. And my skin is just so nourished and so moist. And it doesn't take much. It's amazing. The botanicals. So you can find them all at larsonnutrition.com and shop. You can find the non-toxic candles. It's really hard to find non-toxic candles. So you can shop online. You can find all these candles. They'll get shipped to you wherever you are. And also the skincare is all with organic ingredients. The serum smells amazing, and it's all organic essential oils. Same thing with the skincare line, the face cream, the deep moisture balm. We have also a myrrh balm for healing. Like, my feet and ankles were so sore. So what I did was I took a shower when I got home, and then I put the myrrh balm all over my feet and ankles. I woke up this morning, not a pain at all. My husband didn't do it till this morning, and he's hurting this morning. So I wanted to make sure to take care of it right away last night. So in regular person language, exercise is not just about calories or weight. When you move your body regularly, your gut microbes change. You grow more of the species that ferment fiber into anti-inflammatory compounds. Your gut lining gets stronger. Your immune system becomes more resilient. This is why I love pairing food changes with movement changes. A simple walking program or moderate cardio routine becomes part of your gut healing protocol, not just a weight loss tool. So I don't want to talk about weight loss so much. If you eat healthy, if you eat right, that's a problem with a lot of these shots out there, is they're not teaching people how to eat for life. So if you're not learning how to eat for life and you're just doing all these shots, you could be on these shots forever. Right now, microdosing has been shown to help with some different diseases, and I'm not saying that it's the worst for you, but what it does is eat a lot of your muscle. So, and you need your muscle. You need your muscle to get out of a chair. You need your muscle to carry your groceries. You need your muscles to walk around. You need your muscles to pick up something that fell on the floor, right? You need your muscles to get out of a chair. Okay. You just need your muscles to grocery shop and move around and pick up things that you need to pick up. Like, all the boxes that we had carried to the event that we had yesterday, it was a Kris Kringle market. And then Rob was at a Bubbles and Bows event at the Highlands. And I was at Bay Harbor Arts Center. And at this event, there were lots of boxes of glass candles and little tin candles. They're all behind me, but they're heavy when they're solid, right? They're 8-ounce candles, and there's like 12 or 18 or 24 to a pack. And so you have to be able to carry all this stuff. And there were a lot of people older than me that were carrying a lot of, this one woman had stone, all kinds of things were decorated with stone. She had the crosses, she had picture frames, she had all kinds of stuff. And it was amazing to see all the different things that people had. Another person had decorative rocks. I mean, I can't imagine how heavy that was, right? You still got to pick it up and put it on your crate or put it into your crate, right? It's not so easy to adjust to move this stuff around, or you got to pull it out of your crate. So it's important to keep moving, right? If you're sitting in front of the TV, watching TV all day long and you barely even move, you are losing muscle. So I want to talk about the gut-brain axis and the vagus nerve, because this is where things get really fascinating and very relevant to anxiety, mood, and even chronic pain. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. It runs from your brain stem at the base of your stem all the way down your neck and chest into your abdomen. And it innervates large parts of your digestive tract. It just starts spreading out like little fingerlings, right? It's one of the main highways of the parasympathetic nervous system. Your rest, digest, and repair. Many of you have probably heard this. Your rest, digest, and repair circuitry, right? Reviews published in 2024 and 2025 describe how the vagus nerve is a core pathway by which gut microbes communicate with the brain, influencing mood, stress response, and even neuroinflammation. In plain English, here's what that means. Your gut and your brain are constantly texting each other through the vagus nerve. When your gut is inflamed, dysbiotic, or leaky, it sends stress signals up this nerve that can increase anxiety, low mood, and pain sensitivity. When your vagus nerve is toned and your gut microbes are producing healthy metabolites, the messages going up to the brain are more calming and supportive. This is one reason why people with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or inflammatory bowel conditions also have higher rates of anxiety and depression. I had one patient who came to me and she didn't want to listen to me. She didn't want to hear a thing I said. I told her IBS was all because she had inflamed, probably a leaky gut or some inflammation going on. It was a problem with what she's eating. And so I was trying to guide her along on what she could eat. And she was like, I'm too busy to do that. I can't do that. I'm like, so then you have a lot of stress in your life, because if you can't take care of yourself and all you're focused on is your work and everything else that you got going on, You need to take care of your body. She was talking about that she has diarrhea all the time and she can't control it, and she was only in her 40s. I'm like, what? I said, you can fix all that. You can repair your body. You can do. She wasn't hearing it. She wanted to take her medication. She just wanted to pop a pill. She didn't want to change anything. She was resistant. And I tell you what, I guarantee you, she is still living with anxiety and depression today. And she's still running around and has high stress. The gut and brain are literally wired together. We even have early research showing that stimulating the vagus nerve, either through devices or through breathing and humming practices, we do this in yoga, right? Just through breathing and humming practices, this can influence inflammation and potentially mental health symptoms as well. And from a practical standpoint, this tells you something really simple. Your gut healing protocol should include nervous system regulation. Things like slow nasal breathing. I'm a little stuffed up, but slow nasal breathing. Extended exhales, humming, singing, la 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 la, or gargling, gargle, and any practice that helps you drop into rest and digest mode are not fluffy add-ons. They literally improve communication on that gut-brain highway. Now, let's talk about the flip side. What happens when we feed the microbiome a steady diet of ultra-processed food, right? And sugary drinks and refined junk? This is where the food is medicine conversation becomes food as a slow toxin for some people. Multiple recent reviews have looked at ultra-processed foods. The shelf-stable, hyper-palatable, additive-heavy foods that make up a big chunk of the modern diet. This is the stuff that's down the grocery lane. You got your potato chips, you got your cookies, you've got your frozen pre-cooked meals, you've got your SpaghettiOs, you've got your pasta, you've got your sauces, your canned soups, you've got all kinds of things. Instead of making your own soup at home, you just got quick, easy foods because you're too busy or you're whatever, right? If you have time to watch TV, you have time to cook a meal. If you have time to sit down and do nothing, you have time to cook a meal. You have time to grocery shop. You have time to take care of your body. So these additive heavy foods that make up a big chunk of the American diet, in 2025, a major review in nutrients highlighted that high ultra-processed food intake is associated with lower microbial diversity, fewer short-chain fatty acid-producing bacteria, more gut permeability, and more inflammatory immune activation. And at the same time, large epidemiological studies in journals like BMJ and Endocrine and Cardiometabolic Research have found that higher ultra-processed food consumption is linked to higher rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, depression, and even some cancers, independent of total calorie intake. This is just the food that you're intaking. So let's translate that. This isn't just about you ate too many calories. Your ultra processed foods are changing the way your microbes behave, making your gut lining leakier, driving low grade inflammation, and setting the stage for disease. If you keep eating this way with the highly processed foods and stopping at the fast food joints and buying all the canned highly processed foods, over time, this starts to cause all this inflammation in your body. It degrades it makes your gut leakier, right? And it just causes so much inflammation. And slowly but surely, it drives the disease. And as we get older, we don't have the same hormones in our body that we had when we were in our 20s and 30s. And those are all the anti-inflammatory hormones. When you have a plethora of testosterone and estrogen and progesterone, these all help fight inflammation. But if you're setting too much toxins into your body, this is where you start to have problems. I remember we were in Florida and I love my house to smell good. I had all those plugins and man, did my house smell good. But I tell you what, I suddenly realized I had all these toxins. I had all kinds of problems going on, right? I had the inflammation in my body. I had, this is after menopause, right? I had a cyst in my ovaries. I had to have a full hysterectomy when I was 48, right? These are all the toxins building up in your body, and they do it in some way. If you have a cyst going on, you have toxins in your body, you need to figure out where they're coming from, and you need to clean it out. So, chronic stress and sleep deprivation and sedentary habits on top of that, and you have a perfect storm. The good news is that the opposite is also true. Diet patterns that emphasize whole, minimally processed foods, especially plant predominant or Mediterranean style diets, have been shown to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, and do so in part by shifting the microbiome in a healthier direction. We even see disease reversal, not just prevention. Multiple trials show that with aggressive nutrition and lifestyle interventions, people with type 2 diabetes can achieve remission, meaning normal blood sugar without medications. I have a friend who had type 2 diabetes where they were taking insulin shots. It was so bad that I put them on a ketogenic diet and it reversed it. Now, if you go back to eating the sugars and eating the processed foods and having alcohol and not following the ketogenic diet, you'll fall right back into having the type 2 diabetes. So you could do a ketogenic diet and then eat the Mediterranean diet and have those, polyphenol rich foods, and then go back to a ketogenic diet, go back to the Mediterranean diet, or just stay on the Mediterranean diet. But if you want to get rid of type 2 diabetes, I would highly recommend that you do a paleo diet or, a keto diet and get rid of the sugar out of your diet, and you will see changes in your body. It doesn't happen with type 1 diabetes, but type 2 diabetes definitely. So the famous direct trial out of the UK used a structured low energy diet and lifestyle program and saw almost half of participants achieve remission at 12 months. These programs aren't framed as gut protocols, but the same core principles are there. Remove ultra-processed foods, flood the body with fiber-rich, nutrient-rich, dense whole foods, correct your energy balance, and support movement. So it's probably fair to say that food can turn around the trajectory of disease for many people. Not every disease in every person, but a very large number of metabolic, inflammatory, and autoimmune patterns respond beautifully to gut-focused food as medicine interventions. Now, I want to ground this in something super practical and compassionate. How do you actually do this on a budget? Because if this only works for people shopping at high-end health food stores, it's not real-world medicine. I want you to hear this clearly. Some of the most powerful gut healing foods are the cheapest foods in the grocery store. Beans and lentils are extremely affordable, especially when bought dried, where you can, maybe buy them canned on sale, but cans are lined with toxins. Buy them dried. Soak them overnight. Just put them in a pot, big enough pot, so put lots of water because the beans will soak up the water. So make sure you put lots of water in there. You can always drain them off, and you should drain them off and then rinse them. So buy the dried beans, soak them overnight. They are fiber bombs for your microbiome. They're rolled oats in a big tub give you dozens of servings of prebiotic fiber for a few dollars. Frozen vegetables like broccoli, spinach, mixed veggies are often cheaper than fresh, and they last longer and sometimes more nutrient dense because they're frozen quickly after harvest. Store brand plain yogurt with live cultures is usually affordable and gives you a dose of probiotics. Don't get the flavored kind because all the flavored kind of yogurts are filled with sugars or fake sugars, and they're not as good for you. Canned salmon, sardines, or mackerel provide protein and omega-3s at a fraction of the cost of fresh fish. Although I still buy the wild caught salmon. Bananas, get green bananas, carrots, potatoes, onions, cabbage. Make sure you cook all this though. Cabbage and spinach can still have bugs on them. Rinsing doesn't really help. You need to cook it. Boil it, steam it. So it'll, if there's any bug eggs on it, it'll help clear all that off. And always, and almost always among the cheapest produce items, these items are, and all contain fibers that your microbes love. So articles written for general audiences about gut health often list these same foods as top picks, not because they're trendy, but because they're accessible and evidence-based combinations of fiber, fermented food, and polyphenols. So we get our kefir at Aldi. We get our grass-fed butter at Aldi. We get a lot of our green organic bananas there. We get our organic berries there. We actually buy a lot of our organic berries in the summer when they're prime, and then we freeze them immediately. So we wash them, we rinse them, and then we freeze them. And they're just, a budget-friendly gut healing day might look like this. Overnight oats made with rolled oats, a spoonful of chia seeds if you can afford it, a sliced banana, green banana, and some cinnamon. It doesn't really have a lot of protein, but it's a lot of fiber. Lunch built from leftover beans and rice, that's a complete protein, and frozen broccoli with some olive oil and spices. Dinner with a big pot of lentil soup, onions, garlic, carrots, and canned tomatoes, plus a side of sauerkraut or a cup of yogurt. This isn't glamorous in Instagram food, but it is microbiome gold. So that's more like a vegan diet or vegetarian diet. It's not, there's no protein really, or very little protein there. So if you can layer in 1 or 2 targeted supplements like glutamine or zinc carnosine, that can be the icing on the cake, especially if you're dealing with known leaky gut, IBS, or post-antibiotic recovery. But of course, this time of year, you need D3 with K2 to protect your immune system. So I always tell people, don't spend a bunch of money on powders before you fix the basics, right? You can't out supplement a fast food soda and ultra processed snack lifestyle. So let's land this plane and bring it back to your everyday life. Gut health is not just hype. The scientific evidence is clear that your microbiome affects digestion, immunity, metabolism, brain health, inflammation, and even pain. The wellness industry absolutely overmarkets shortcuts, but the core idea that food is medicine, especially for the gut, is more than justified. The key is to focus on patterns, not perfection. Think more plants, more fiber, more fermented foods, more movement, more nervous system downshifting, deep breathing, do some yoga, do some planks, do some step ups, do some stairs at your home and stretch. Do fewer ultra processed foods, do additive heavy products. Think about feeding your inner rainforest, that community of microbes that's trying every day to repair you, detoxify you, and keep you alive, instead of constantly hitting it with stress and junk. If you've been dealing with bloating, constipation, diarrhea, reflux, brain fog, joint pain, weird skin issues, or just that feeling of my system's not right, you are not broken, but your gut might be asking for help. The beautiful thing is that your microbiome is dynamic. It responds when you show up consistently with better inputs. If you want personalized help designing a gut healing nutrition plan that fits your budget, your family, and your hormone stage of life, you can head to larsonnutrition.com and learn more about my one-on-one functional nutrition coaching and upcoming programs. We build this around real people with real schedules, not perfect Instagram lives. If this episode helps you understand gut health and food as medicine in a clearer way, please share it with someone you love. That friend who's always bloated, or that family member with prediabetes, that coworker who's exhausted and living on coffee and snacks. Sometimes they just need someone to explain the science in plain English and give them permission to start small. You can listen to the Larson Health Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, watch full episodes on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and snippets on social media like Instagram and TikTok, where I also share behind-the-scenes clips, recipes, and bonus insights from my nutrition practice. And if you're ready to take your health to the next visit larsonnutrition.com to learn more about personalized programs, hormone-supportive meal plans, and one-on-one functional nutrition coaching. I'm Kim Larson. This is the Larson Health Podcast, and I'll talk with you next time, which should be next Saturday.